A blind knight that uses echolocation, viewing the dark, treacherous world through sound. Trapped in a dungeon keep, endangered by combatants, where hazards lurk around every corner. Make sound to have vision, or don't and be stealthy. Avoid impaling threats throughout the dungeon to escape. Engage with other prisoners.
Rogue Knight I've been hearing about. Could you find the key and unlock my cell?
Free them to fight back with more allies.
Let's take this guy.
The Dungeon Labyrinth has many paths and even more traps. Struggle through the darkness to find your freedom.
Presentation.
We're here just off the strip. It's time to go racing the Venom truck. Season 10, Round 10. It's the DealDosesForFree.com fighting against breast cancer at the halfway mark of the season. It's time to go racing once again here from Las Vegas for the 5th time in series history. Tommy Cook, Matt Williamson alongside. Welcome back to the booth after your time out on track last week. Boy, I don't know what else you could say about last week other than it happened and it was really something.
Yeah, it was something. I got to see it all unfold there before my very own eyes, and part of it was fun, part of it was not. So, it was interesting to say the least. There's no doubt about it.
And also interesting are the point standings coming into tonight. Lots of things to keep your eyes on. Some drivers moving up, some drivers down. A couple of gaps have ballooned, believe it or not. Some of the drivers inside the top 10 in the standings actually gained points last week, although it would seem the opposite.
Yeah, Matt Schlosser still up on top of the points here. John K. Andy Poliski in a pretty heated battle for second now, as both of them have started to slip back from the man in first place right now. Josh Monachek, Zach Lockett tied for fourth. So the top five, I should say second through fifth, are all very, very tight together here. Matt Schlosser has kind of separated himself for the last 6 races or so of the season. So he'll look to try and keep that gap. Brody Gunter continues to work his way up after missing a couple of races. Chad Stearns there in 7th. Andy Ducato has made up some points. Jan Van Leer, Jordan Jorneau are your top 10. Jorneau still hanging on there in that 10th position. He has kind of floated right around there for about the last 4 races or so. Outside of the cutoff, Garrett Rainey, Steve Roman, Josh Freed are your top 14. Cade Cannon hanging out there in 15th. And I know earlier in the season we kind of said, there's still plenty of time. Well, we're well past halfway of the regular season now. We are starting to run out of time. Some of those drivers outside of the cutoff line are starting to really going to pay attention to those drivers around them that are just inside the top 10.
Yeah, drivers that gained last week: Schlosser, Lockett, Gunter, Stearns, Ducato. Some big losers last week: Andy Poliski and Jan Van Leer, who wasn't even last week in particular. Jan only missing his third career Venom Truck Series race ever. In all 151 races now, Jan missed his third last week. So he dropped a bunch of points. Garrett Rainey and Steve Roman, though, tight to the cut line with Jordan Journeau. It'll be a lot of fun to watch here. With a minute and a half to go tonight, we are fighting against breast cancer. It is October, and lots of pink out there on the track here this evening. One message I was told to relay in particular is he's already made a comment of it. Thinking of Michelle Edmondson, a teacher and an influence to Mr. Joshua Rutherford, and always thinking about, everybody's been affected by breast cancer. Thinking in particular about my friend Lucas's mom, Lisa, and also my aunt Michelle, who is a survivor of breast cancer. And we've all got those people in our lives, and that's what we do here in October. We try and rally for the ones that we love. So we appreciate not only the folks that are out there repping the pink on the track here tonight, but anybody that's here in the chat with us this evening as well. Shout out to the Honda Checks as always. As Las Vegas Motor Speedway is a very interesting place to have a truck race, historically speaking. We expect a calm race and a lockdown race at Las Vegas. You and I both think something to the contrary this evening, though.
I'm sorry, I was typing you a message. I completely missed the question that you just asked me.
So historically speaking, Las Vegas has been a pretty we did have 5 cautions here last, but historically we've only had 1 in every other race. You and I both think that is not going to be the case this evening.
Yeah, I went out and put in some practice. I know you did as well. The truck is pretty loose, and you can really put some wear on that right rear tire, really just the right sides in general. I think we might have some incidents here tonight. As close as everybody races here at Las Vegas, and with the truck handling in that manner, it is going to be pretty tough for these guys to stay out of each other's ways, I guess you could say. So it will be interesting to see if there's any slack given, but historically this is kind of an all-out racetrack. And, I think there's going to be some trouble here tonight.
Well, it's already an interesting night for Hayden Palumbo. He will grab his pole for the first time this season after taking his first win of the season last week at iRacing Super Speedway. So 4th career Tech Tape pole award for Palumbo. Congrats to him. Frank Sirachi, coming off his first career podium, will line up on the outside pole for the first time in his career. Matt Schlosser will start in 3rd. Chad Stearns to his outside. Brody Gunter and Jeremy McKinnon. These are 6 of the top 10 drivers from iRacing Super Speedway last week. Brantley Gainey and Joshua Monachek looking for better weeks than they had last week. They are on row number 4. Paul Olsen back in the lineup, starts at 9th with Zach Lockett, rounding out the top 10 exactly where he finished last week at iRacing Super Speedway. Jan Van Leer and Josh Freed on row 6. It's Andy Ducato and Tyler Bergert on row 7. Garrett Rainey, Jordan Journeau. The battlers for the in-season tournament there on row number 8. Lucas Carver, previous winner here at Las Vegas, starting deep in 17th. Brian Mitchell, coming off his best career finish last week, starts at 18th. Cole Maxwell and John Kay way back there in P20. Rest of the starting lineup, 33 drivers out there on the track. Mark Ossier, suspended from competition here this evening, will not be taking to the track. But Mr. Matt Williamson, what are the weather conditions and what are the strategy notes for as much as you can plan ahead for a race like this?
Yeah, the track temperature right now is 82 degrees. The sun is not really out at this point, so that should help the drivers a little bit there with the track conditions. We got 134 laps around Las Vegas here tonight. 3 extra sets of tires, no faster pairs as always. These drivers are really going to have to be careful here on this initial start. Cold tires, these trucks can get pretty loose on the rear end. And also, we'll talk about it through the night, but running the bottom down in turns 1 and 2 is a little sketchy. Running it down in 3 and 4 is pretty sketchy also.
We still only average 2 cautions a race here at Las Vegas. We'll see what we've got in store here tonight, though, for 134 laps. DeDildo'sforfree.com, fighting against breast cancer 200. is underway. Stearns inherits the outside pole from Srirachi, who has to go to the tail for a penalty, and Stearns looking to make quick work of Palumbo here into 1 and 2. Even Stevens into turn number 3. Slight advantage to Stearns, who's getting help from McKinnon on the top. Palumbo with not much help from behind from Matt Schlosser as they exit turn number 4. The 05 surges ahead on the top side and is going to lead the opening circuit. Here's McKinnon now sticking it 3 wide for the race lead. Stearns now clear to move down, and lucky for him, McKinnon on the charge, on the prowl here earlier in the 12. Look at that. That's exactly a truck length to feed in through there. And McKinnon with a crossover to take the lead into 3. Schlosser and Palumbo tight to one another there out of 4. We talk about the concerns for tire wear. Boy, these guys are slicing and dicing early. They think it's going to be a track position race.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's tough because it's a track that's incredibly fast. You don't want to lose that track position like you just mentioned. And also, it's just hard to save tire here in general just because of the speed and the momentum that you carry around this racetrack. I mean, if you try and start backing off and saving too much tire, you're going to get pretty far behind and lose a lot of positions. So I think it's one of those racetracks where you just kind of have to deal with the wear as it comes, and you can try and manage it as much as possible, but it's very, very difficult here.
The lights have come on around Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and the 2 different schools of thought at work at the front of this field. Chad Stearns, the ultimate long-run driver, is pushing hard early to keep McKinnon, who was all out all the time. Brady Gunter is into the mix here. Matt Schlosser and Hayden Palumbo now to the inside, challenging for the lead.
Palumbo looking good on the bottom here. Personally, if I'm looking to try and make some passes, I typically go to the top side here. At least at this point in the run, it kind of flip-flops for me between the top and the bottom being the preferred line as you go throughout the run. But I will say, down here in turns 1 and 2, we'll get an onboard shot here with somebody at some point soon. But it is pretty bumpy down there on that bottom lane. Down in turns 3 and 4, it's not as bumpy, but it's a lot different. Not quite as much banking. You have to drive them so differently.
To your point now, all except for Stearns and Jan Van Leer on the bottom of this track. The
Let's
pink
go.
and blue Telcel 5 is riding the top side. Everybody else down to the white.
Let's go to Palumbo here. And you can see the truck bouncing up and down a little bit on that bottom lane. If you're running just one lane up the racetrack, that is not the case. So, as you go through the run and your truck's maybe not feeling quite as planted, that can really come into play and affect the handling.
We've seen in the past this track be super locked down. It essentially is a static pack race. The drivers are all close together, but they can't make moves. The track refresh has changed that a little bit. Certainly, if anything, is going to not lock down the right rear tire.
Yeah, I mean, the beginning of this race is still going to be not as much double file. There's going to be more single file, but everybody's going to be together. It's when we get later on in this run, when we start getting to lap 20, 25, you're really going to start to see some separation at that point, I think.
Here's Gunter now challenging his former teammate Palumbo for the race lead as they make just a skosh of contact there out of 2. Gunter losing the nose a bit there on the bottom. Palumbo trying to surge back around the outside.
And it's not quite the same because it's not the same vehicle, but the official sessions this week for both the Xfinity and the NASCAR Cup Series were both at Las Vegas in iRacing this week. So some of these drivers may have partaken in some of those official races to get a little extra practice around this racetrack this last week.
Colombo uprooted off the bottom, going for some experimental lines here, if anything, just to try and hang on to second. We'll get back into line there between Gunter and McKinnon. Stearns and Lockett, teammates there at the top 5. Last time we went racing at, I guess, a quote-unquote normal track, remember, it was a 939 podium lockout with Stearns and Schlosser and Josh Freed. Freed running in the 13th position currently. Lockett could have very well been in that mix as well, but some contact with Brody Gunter took him out of a shot at a win late in the race.
We go back to right around the top 10. A little bit of side-by-side action here still as well, as Rainey there in the 13 has been running this top side pretty consistently. See Matacek there in the 60. He's going to elect to start running the top here as well. Oh, Stearns and McKinnon tight together there off of 2. We didn't really mention the fuel number at the start of this race. We're thinking the number is around 55 laps, and they might be able to stretch it a few more potentially. But I don't think they're going to have to get all the way to that number. I would imagine the way the tires are wearing right now, they're probably just going to try and make this a 2-stop race, just split it into thirds. Of course, if we have one of those pesky yellow flags come out at a sort of awkward time, that is going to turn everything on its head.
We've seen mile-and-a-half races really do the whole cautions breeding caution memes, especially if you were with us on Thursday night with the Max VCNC Home Designs Truck Series. That race unraveled very quickly with a late race caution. It was a really clean race, and then all of a sudden 4 overtime attempts essentially with a natural green-white checkered, and they all ended in disaster for multiple drivers. So it didn't pile up here late, no matter how clean and green the rest of the race is. And I think another thing to point out, and it was so clearly illustrated by the real-life drivers on Sunday, pit road in here is quite tricky. It's got a little extra bend to it. It's tucked around a little bit of a corner and a rounded wall. There's a little bit of contact between Jan Van Leer and I think Andy Ducato. A little bit further back, JVL's going to come out on the wrong end of that one.
Yeah,
but getting onto pit road here is tricky.
Looked like Jan was all the way up into the wall there, but yes, pit road is very tricky, and part of that is also just the speeds that you're carrying around this particular mile-and-a-half racetrack. You're just carrying a lot of speed through turns 3 and 4, and then all of a sudden you got to pull that thing down, and there's really not a straight entry into pit road. I mean, you're kind of trying to turn while you're braking. If anybody knows, that's not optimal by any means to be hitting the brakes and trying to turn at the same time. So it is very, very tricky under green flag conditions.
McKinnon's starting to go backwards. Stearns and Schlosser are both through, as was Zach Lockett. So move Lockett to 3rd, Stearns to 4th, Schlosser to 5th, McKinnon back to 6th. As Andy Ducato is pulling up on him now with Brantley Gainey in tow.
Yeah, biggest movers right now are Ducato and Lockett. If Ducato can get McKinnon here, that would make him +7 so far. Zach Lockett also up 7 positions.
I don't know if really anybody had a good week last week other than Hayden Palumbo, but you could definitely make the argument for Andy Ducato. He was running at the end of the race. That was good enough for almost, I think, a top 5. Also led the most laps and got the pole. And also, made points to the cut line as well. So anytime you can build your cushion a little bit, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, as far as anybody's night last week would have gone, that's about as good as it gets, other than the win. I think you're right.
So Decano going to go to work here on McKinnon. Going to try anyway. McKinnon might try and get back into the fight here right on the tailgate of Schlosser. May have just opened himself up to an attack here as Decano's backed up for a run. Oh, one driver way loose and down on the flat there. I think that was Lucas Carver. So Preach Peterson having to take it all the way down from the outside wall to the apron to try and hang on to that one. And it's going to cost him a couple spots. Keep in mind, Carver, the defending race winner here at Las Vegas and the only active driver to have a win here at Vegas.
Things are certainly not shaking up his way right now. Not a great qualifying effort, and he had made up some positions there, but now has lost them. He is right back where he started in 17th.
I mean, that's the tagline to his season 10. It has definitely not been a good season for him. There's tangled in front of him. Woo! That was almost it. It was him and Jordan Jorno getting wrapped together there. And these drivers on the radio are talking about this truck being a handful, and this is already more than these drivers deal with at Vegas. They may not be prepared for what they're up against here.
Yeah, and I mean, we're just past 20 laps in, and they're starting to feel it. That's about when I started to really feel it as well. It is certainly not the Vegas of old that these drivers, like you said, were used to. Boy, they are going 3 wide further back. That is both of the Rutherfords along with Jack Watts.
I do think I need to mention how bad the Rutherfords' luck has been lately. It's the last thing they need is to be 3 wide with the 2 of them involved. Well, go ahead, sorry.
I was just going to mention, we kind of talked about, tire save. You're not really able to save tire in the beginning. You don't want to lose all the track position. But, I mean, to me, the way the tires are wearing, if you're able to figure out how to save, I think it's worth it here in the long run. And we've had a decent green flag run. I think the scare in that is that drivers are going to get together a little bit more as we get further on into this race. Things start to get a little bit more pushy, I guess you could say, in trying to make passes. I don't know if you want to fall too far back trying to save that tire just in case that caution comes out.
A couple of drivers working on moves. Josh Freed was just underneath Jan Van Leeren. JVL able to hang on to the 9th position. Here's John Kay around the outside of Tyler Bergert, and Garrett Rainey to the inside of Joshua Matacek as well. I think Matacek is going to hang on to that spot.
Battle for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Still pretty heated here. Lockett has taken a couple shots at Palumbo. Has just not quite been able to get there. He's got a teammate, Chad Stearns, trying to help out a little bit here as well. And now Stearns is going to take it down.
I say Lockett's been the outlier thus far, been able to make positions and seemingly save a little tire. But Stearns from the outside pole trying to get after it here.
This track is so weird because this right rear tire is going to wear. You're going to start getting really loose. And then the further, like 10 laps further, when you get to, maybe 40 laps into the run, then you're going to start kind of getting tight a little bit. So you just got to be with it on both sides of the coin here with this truck and this racetrack. It has become pretty tricky to figure out how to be fast here.
I will say Brody Gunter's figured it out. He's got a 2 1/4 second lead up front. But I will point out as well, at a right rear wear heavy track at Atlanta 2008 earlier this season, Gunter did give up a sizable lead with the tires wearing underneath of him after a hard battle. I will say, much less contested run to the front this time for the 01. It's not impossible he could start to fall off at the end of this run, or he could just be Brody Gunter and not.
You see Schlosser get loose there. He was right down on that white line through turn 2. Gave up some time to McKinnon, and now Ducato's going to have an opportunity on the outside here.
Ducato really the only one keeping it on the high side. Jan Van Leer running the middle under fire from Josh Freed.
I like that second lane up, and that's exactly what McKinnon and Ducato both did right there. You enter in the second lane up to stay away from those heavy bumps right on the bottom of turn 1. And then as you get into turn 2, you can run the bottom more smoothly. So they're starting in the second lane and then turning down into the very bottom lane once they get into turn 2. I like that.
Turns again to the inside of Palumbo this time, looking for second.
And Palumbo's using that momentum on the top side to play some defense here. Stearns, with the way the tires are starting to wear, it's getting pretty tough to run that bottom lane. And Palumbo's letting the banking carry his momentum around, and as long as Stearns can't get clear on corner entry, Palumbo should be able to keep the spot. Now Palumbo pulls down to the bottom.
Stearns will be looking for the crossover here down the backstretch. And should be able to get this pass close to complete, I would imagine. We'll see what Palumbo can generate here all the way up on the top lane. See if he'll fire back. Stearns with a truck length and a half gap. Should be good enough to hold on. I mean, Palumbo's a guy, of course, coming off his first win last week, but if there's any time to get hot, it's now. He has not had an outstanding season. I think problems further back, Jordan Journeau and Lucas Carver are slow.
Meanwhile, McKinnon and Ducato still battling it out as Ducato gets pretty loose there off a turn 4 exit. That allows Schlosser to get to his outside, and Schlosser able to clear. There was a little bit of contact, it looked like, between McKinnon and Ducato outside or out of turn 2 on that same lap as well. Battles continue throughout the field. Jack Watts, Corey Rutherford still right here together as they have been for quite some time now. Trying to make up some positions. They are pulling up to Rainey, Maxwell, and Poliski here.
We got pit stops here on lap 35. Here comes Hayden Palumbo and Brantley Gainey. Cole Maxwell coming in this time as well.
Wow, so
that's a 3-stopper maybe.
Yeah.
Boy, I don't know how much further we're going to go. They are 3 wide, 3 deep, all of a sudden stacked up. That could have been bad very, very quickly. Still a lot to get settled down here behind Kyle Zittel.
Well, the problem is for these drivers, they're battling side by side, and they're just, oh, they're going to go!
Down. Eric Breeding.
Eric Breeding, Brian Mitchell. Looks like RJ Starcevic.
Breeding got tagged by somebody. Not 100% sure who got into him, though. But, I mean, that was inevitable, I think, with how close people were. It might have been Brian Mitchell that tagged him.
Oh, and now Breeding trying to get down a pit road. He spins it again right down to the inside wall.
Well, that is par for the course for Hayden Palumbo's season thus far. I was just getting ready to say his luck has not been very good. And it continues to not be that way, even despite the victory last week. And the same goes for Brantley Gainey, who I don't think we'd mentioned at all, but it was running solidly inside the top 10.
Yeah, he
Pit
was having a
stops for the
great race.
leaders.
All right, let's take a look at the incident here. Looks like Mitchell here in the 78. On the outside, you see Breeding there in the 26 down on the bottom. And it looks like, oh, Mitchell gets loose off of turn 2, does a little weeble wobble there on the top and comes right down into the 26. Starcevic there in the 29 is actually able to get it slowed down, but does go for a little spin here, I think. However, no contact with the wall. Great work there by the 29 to stay out of that one. I think pretty much everybody else stayed clear of this. Let's back it up. Let's take a look through turns 1 and 2 here for Mitchell and watch him get loose here off of 2. Running the top, modulating the throttle a little bit. You can see him getting loose, and then it just unloads on him. And that is, I mean, that looks like it should be simple to not kind of weave up and down like that, but this truck does unload like that, and it kicks you, kind of points you to the right, then you kind of turn it to the left to stay out of the wall, and that's honestly pretty easy to do here, especially when those tires start to fade on you.
I say especially with a hot right rear, which everybody's got. Like you said, as soon as that truck starts heading back the hill, you try and put in a little input to counter it, you're in for a bad time. So certainly damage for Breeding and for Mitchell, who will get an EOL penalty here, and emotional damage for Hayden Palumbo and Brantley Gainey, unfortunately. And I think Cole Maxwell came in as well, if I'm not mistaken. Maxwell had just moved up into the top 15. I mean, he was rolling pretty well there as well. They've got a lot of work to do now as everybody has come down pit road under this caution. Brady Gunter wins the race off of pit road. It'll be Stearns to his outside, Lockett and Ducato on row 2, McKinnon, Schlosser, row 3. Freed and Van Leer now going to be battling on row 4, and John Kay and Joshua Matichek into the top 10.
And I mean, this basically, it looked like we may have been headed there anyways, but this pretty much solidifies this as a 3-stop race. Of course, that kind of depends on how these other cautions fall as well.
Historically, that's going to be the only one, but our eyes will tell us that we are definitely due for at least a couple more here. Back at our way, good start for Gunter. Lockett looking to get clear in third, and will. Schlosser and McKinnon side by side for 5th.
Stearns going to look underneath of Gunter for the lead here.
See what kind of a fight Gunter is willing to put up. Not much of one for now. Stearns is on point. Gunter back to second. And Josh Freed and Jan Van Leer right back to running side by side. And never left each other's flank for the better part of the last 15 laps under green. And now they're right back to battling. Lots of personal fastest laps. This track is ramping up, but of course that means more grip, which means more tire wear.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see if any of these drivers play this a little bit differently than they did in that first run. Gunter looked like he was going to try and take a look to the outside of Stearns there, but ended up not really having the run he thought he did, I don't think, and pulled right back down in. Side by side further back for a moment there. That was between Josh Freed and Jan Van Leer, as Freed again looking to make up some positions early here.
Freed uprooting the team boss, but Schlosser back in line. Definitely some lessons learned from our first green flag run. Hopefully, other than Stearns' move on Gunter to take over the lead, it's been a lot calmer this time around. Andy Poliski just made a move up to 11th through on Paul Ellison, now going to try and get into the top 10. Poliski started back in 25th. John Cather on Jan Van Leer. 5-truck may drop right into this battle between Monacek and Poliski.
And this might be Jan playing that tire save game. I mean, if we get a long green flag run, it may come back to benefit him in the long run. I was just doing some math here. If we wanted to just go on one more stop, the drivers would basically have to do a couple of 47-lap stints on these tires. That is not out of the question. We had just gone about 34 laps before we got that caution. We had some drivers come down pit road. So although that seems like it's not that much further on tires that are that worn, another 13 laps is a long time. But I think could be beneficial as long as you don't absolutely shred them. Could be beneficial to keep it at a one-stop race from this point on out. So be interesting to see how these drivers play this.
Boy, McKinnon is sawing on Ducato's back bumper. Now he's going to pull up to the outside of him. And Brody Gunter has found a little window underneath of Chad Stearns to try and stick it in for the lead. Gunter had been sizing that move up for the last 2 laps, and he will put it back on point. 0-1 to P1. Ducato and McKinnon banging doors through the trioval. Monacek and Tyler Berger side by side, and Berger around the outside is going to take over the 11th position. Good run for Tyler Berger thus far. Hate to even say that with the luck he's had this season. That's probably a jinx. And first time seeing our outside pole sitter all race. He's way into the top 15 after an EOL to start the night. Frank Sirachi up to P15. Here is Lockett now to the inside of McKinnon for third. Or rather, McKinnon around the outside of Lockett to take third. And McKinnon is on the roll right now.
And both Lockett and Ducato seem somewhat content with letting McKinnon potentially burn him up on the outside there.
I mean, that's the McKinnon way. Push hard. And he is.
Further back outside the top 10, some battles going on here between Sirachi and Ellison, Steve Roman, Larry Eddy, Jack Watts, Garrett Rainey all together here. And a slew of drivers behind them. Jorno, Starcevic, Zittel, Holyfield, Corey Rutherford, they are all stacked up here together.
Larry Eddy registered with 1 minute left in qualifying, so he started plumb last on this field with not a lap of practice, and he is driven up into the top 15 just about. They're in 17th right now. That's a pretty impressive run.
Now, he would be the lone biggest mover of the race if it wasn't for Andy Poliski. Andy Poliski also up 16 positions just as Eddie is right now.
John Kay and Andy Poliski slowly but steadily climbing their way through the top 10. Next up will be Josh Freed for both of them, if Poliski doesn't catch Kay first.
Jan Van Leers looks like he's starting to try to claw back into this one as Matacek pulls up on him very swiftly.
Oh!
Matacek into the wall.
Hit that huge plume of dead air right behind the 5 truck and plowed straight into the wall. And this will open it up now for Carver to try and get to the outside of Matacek. Srirachi, Ellis, and Vroman all lined up behind as momentum trying to be reestablished here for the 60.
He seems to have it going again, but now on the bottom of the racetrack, Vroman's going to pull the crossover here. And Matacek will settle back in here in 15th.
Probably not quite at full song, but at least he's got a little bit of momentum reestablished. So he tries to break the side draft of Vroman. I think McKinnon pushing as hard as he did, he started to drop some time here to Chad Stearns and Brody Gunter. He's fallen about half a second behind. Lockett was just looking to make a move on him, but pulls back into line down low. And this is about as big of a gap as we've seen between Gunter and Stearns in the last 10 laps or so. And it's only a truck length. I mean, Stearns has not let Gunter get away yet. We'll see if that is about to change, though, as Gunter finally has a little separation. Back to side-by-side for 10th. Jan is trying to move forward once again. He's to the inside of Tyler Bergert. Bergert hanging down that 10th position.
Yeah, Bergert's just running this outside line nicely. Jan has just not had a real opportunity to actually clear and make this pass. And now Lucas Carver is going to stick his nose to the outside and try and work his way around.
Meanwhile, for third, here's Lockett to the inside of McKinnon.
Ducato kind of sitting and waiting, biding his time here, but behind these two as McKinnon had to chase it up a bit.
Well, Lockett had to chase it up as well. Clipped the apron there in the middle of 1 and 2, and that nose pushed straight up. McKinnon reacting to that just about walled it. So now Ducato might be the deciding factor here, pushing McKinnon clear to hang on to third. Now Ducato to the outside of Lockett.
I just think at this point in the run right now, if you're looking to push and make up positions, the top is the place to be.
Ducato will do just that. Move the 0-2 to 4th.
Lockett is going to stick to that bottom, though. I mean, if you're comfortable running it and you're not getting super loose there on the bottom, you're able to kind of keep it secure. I like the bottom. It's certainly pretty consistent, but it's very difficult to make it consistent. But if you have it, it works nicely.
At the front, Chad Stearns had dropped back to almost half a second behind. Now has cut it to a quarter. Just a couple truck lengths. Stearns tries to rally here. Ahead of another round of green flag pit stops presumably coming in the next 10 to 15 laps if our schedule from the first time around holds true.
Yeah, I mean, we'd be looking around lap 70 to 75 probably if it's still on the same schedule. However, I think some drivers might push in another 10 laps and try and get to 85.
Yeah, that was the thing we really didn't get to see was how far off the beaten path Palumbo and Gainey's strategy really was. If they were going to be the outliers or if they were going to be the first domino to fall.
I think there's some drivers that have taken a little bit better care of their tires here. I feel like we're looking towards just one stop here throughout the rest of this race. To make it to that point, they'd be coming down around lap 85, 86, 87, somewhere around there. But if somebody's starting to struggle and they want to pull the parachute, I'd say somewhere in the next 10 laps is probably the place to do it.
Tyler Berger has fended him off in both lanes. He's got Carver to his inside behind him and Jan Van Leer to the outside. So moves being made in and around the top 10 as they're side by side now for third. Ducato around the outside of Jeremy McKinnon. And just like you said, if you're going to make moves, get up top. That's exactly what the O2 does, and he will take over the third place.
Yeah, Lockett
will get through as well.
Following right through. Schlosser wasn't quite able to stay attached, and you're going to see McKinnon plug that top line now.
Schlosser and Josh Freed have caught up. John Kay is not too far behind as well. Kay was all the way up on the wall through 3 and 4. And Kay is coming with a vengeance here.
It's so weird in 3 and 4. If you enter more on the top lane, it's very easy to get even more tight and just find your way into the wall. You really need to enter more kind of one lane down. That's if you're going to run the top, that's more preferred.
Jan Van Leer able to take over 10th from Tyler Berger.
Man,
talk about drivers on the move. RJ Starcevic is blowing up through the field. He's up to 14th.
Yeah, biggest mover right now. 18 positions gained for RJ Starcevic after going for a little spin, being involved. No contact, but being involved in that first caution.
Here we go for 5th. Josh Freed continuing to move forward here. He's to the inside of McKinnon.
John Kay working his way into this battle as well. Kay is through on Schlosser as, wow, Freed and McKinnon.
Freed up the track a little bit. McKinnon trying to keep it tight. I don't think he expected the 39 to move up as much as he did. A little bit of contact. Freed gets loose but saves it. That could have very easily turned into what we just saw from Brian Mitchell with that truck sort of seesawing out from underneath of him. But Freed now right back on the attack.
Yeah, I thought Kay might have an opportunity to make a pass on Freed there as well, but Freed was able to corral it, get back in the throttle, and not lose too much momentum there.
Good timing for Ali Hill. Kay has had a very methodical race thus far and continuing to make positions up.
We had John's car and side cameras up right now, and he had a big wheel movement there through turns 3 and 4.
Could have fooled me. Yeah, congrats on the new house, and always fun to, when you get to a new place for the first time, figure out how things work.
Or maybe don't work.
Well, at least they know that they do. To point out as well before green flag pit stops kick off here, we mentioned a minute ago Stearns closing back in on Gunter. He's since faded away, but he's still within half a second. So really in the grand scheme of things, not too far behind.
Starcevic continues to make up positions. He's now past Paul Ellison, starting to work on Lucas Carver here. I mean, for a guy that, a couple years ago hardly ran, I mean, he's had iRacing for a while, but hardly ever ran any races. He has come a long way here this season.
I mean, you plucked the thought pretty much right out of my head, as Freed is going to make a move again here on McKinnon and slide up with a couple feet to spare. McKinnon going to send it right into the tailgate, but that is Josh Freed to 5th. Jan Van Leer says he's pitting this time. And Lucas Carver going to follow. We'll see who else is coming.
Okay.
Lap 72. Pit stops kicking off. Boy, Jan. Oh, that wasn't the commitment line. I was going to say he was definitely speeding. But there's a yellow line, and then there's a white line with a yellow cone. That's the one these drivers are aiming for to make it to pit road speed.
This is going to be interesting. I have to believe there's some drivers that are going to try and push it another 12, 13 laps here and go for the one stopper. It's just a matter of how many.
I was going to say, if John Kay, unless he's Ty Dillon, he's not coming this time because he was riding the wall through 3 and 4. Looks like uneventful on and offs for Jan and Lucas.
I mean, they were in the heat of battling around the top 10 there. Maybe they burned it up a little bit more than they had hoped, and they had to maybe alter strategy a bit.
And to your point, here comes Tyler Bergert, who was the one battling with both of them 2 laps later. RJ Starcevic says he'll be pitting next time around.
I'm not sure that surprises me much. RJ has been on the move here this run.
Brantley Gainey, Gary Clark also in. So these are drivers really from about 9th on down thus far. We've not seen anybody from between Brody Gunter and Andy Poliski come to pit road yet on this cycle.
Let's see
now
RJ's
be
pit
6
stop
laps
here. I mean, everybody's done pretty well so far. That one was actually pretty tame there from the 29.
Larry Eddy says he's coming to pit road this time, as Matt Schlosser has moved through on Jeremy McKinnon to move McKinnon down to 8th. So he may have pushed a little bit too hard too early. Chad Stearns now 1 second behind Brody Gunter ahead of pit stops. Cole Maxwell in as well.
Anybody that's curious, it is about a 1 second 3/4 is about the fall off right now, somewhere right there in that range. But lap times are continuing to get slower and slower here, as Gunter just ran a 32.25 rather, and his best lap of the race is a 30.41.
Aiden Palumbo says he's pitting this time, trying to get his race back on track, going for a little bit of an undercut here. We'll see if anything will happen to bring out the caution once again. Then we'll know it's him.
Jack
Watts says he'll be pitting this time.
Lockett continues to look underneath of Ducato. These two have been together pretty much the entire race.
I just got an alert that the pace car blinked out of the session. I don't know how that works.
Time to get the pace car and the choose cone out.
Well, if you want to see the tire differential, take a look at Lucas Carver right now. I mean, he just blew the doors off of a line of 3 drivers. And he's got more ahead.
Oh, look
Three
at
wide,
this.
John
3
Kay.
wide.
Wow. And now he's 3 wide again.
Oh,
Freed goes to the middle. Ducato
Oh,
fading on
Ducato in the wall.
Ducato. Into
oh,
the wall. Kay and
contact
Freed's
between
door.
Freed. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, dear. How did they make it through that?
That was some heads-up driving by Ducato to know to just kind of pull out of that one. He easily could have kept his foot in it and turned Freed into the wall.
So, I mean, that's a spot gained for Freed. That's 2 spots for John and -2 for Ducato.
That was dangerously close to the second caution of the night.
Very.
That would have taken out some heavy hitters as well.
So move Josh Freed to 3rd, a position that he's finished in twice this season. Now lock
Okay.
into the inside of Ducato.
We're starting to get pretty close to pit stops here for the drivers on the one-stop strategy, which is a good majority here. There's about 20, 21 drivers or so that have not come down pit road yet. They should be down in the next 3, 4, 5 laps here.
To point out as well, we pointed out when everybody's pit thus far, Frank Sirachi came down last time by and has rejoined the race. .7 lead for Brody Gunter over Chad Stearns. Another 1.5 back from Stearns to Freed, and Freed has got him lined up behind him.
Boy, drivers on fresh tires coming through, making things a little chaotic here around the top 10.
There comes Jan. And Jan is the first driver on fresh tires in the running order, currently in 22nd. Of course, he's trapped a lap down as here comes John Kay to the inside of Josh Freed, and he absolutely sends it. Bounces it off the apron up the track, and the door is open for the crossover.
That was a slide job.
That was sending it. Oh, problems. Jordan Shore, no, he's going to save it, but he's into the wall.
Yeah,
And
Jordan was
says
slow.
he's coming to pit road.
I mean, this isn't the worst place to have to come down pit road. I mean, he's pretty much right at the number, so I mean, if there
He
was
did just lose about 5 seconds, unfortunately, trying to save the truck. But you're right. Rob Williams is also in. John Kay, here we go. Pits inside the top 5. Kay's coming this time.
Oh, and Kay gets loose, pulling it down off the apron. Able to get it corralled, though, but that was close.
Kay is going to bring Andy Poliski and Jack Watts with him.
Who is going to answer the call here?
Brody Gunter, the race leader, expecting to come down this time. So Stearns will not trigger the undercut. We'll see what Gunter's got on pit entry here. Trying to get... Oh, he got awfully close to that cone, but I think he's okay.
Wow. That was dangerously close. But with no penalty, he had to have made up a bunch of time there on entry.
Zach Lockett, Joshua Matichek also in with Gunter and Stearns. Multiple drivers say they're coming this time. We're probably about out. Ellison and Zittel say they're coming. Austin Holyfield is coming. Steve Roman is coming. Here comes Corey Rutherford. Here come Freed, Ducato, and Schlosser, the top 3. And Schlosser is sailing it onto pit road. I think he made it.
Zittel pretty conservative. It looked like Corey Rutherford made up a bunch of time there on Vroman and Zittel.
And I think Brody Gunter did get a penalty. He's still on pit road as Stearns is off. Did not show it on my screen, but I mean, he was right there on that cone.
Yeah, I mean, it looked to me like he did make contact with the cone, but...
And that changes everything. Gunter going to lose basically a full lap here.
A lot of shuffling through the running order right now as Drivers, a lot of drivers on pit road right now working their way off.
And, of course, your 5 early pitters right now are the top 5. Jan Van Leer, Lucas Carver, RJ Starsvik, Brantley Gainey, and Tyler Berger. Those are the top 5.
This is
Palumbo and Eddie 6th and 7th, and then Stearns out in 8th.
This is a battle for the lead right now here. Jan Van Leer, Lucas Carver right here close together. It's a gap of 3.5 seconds back to RJ Starsvik.
That's Rob Williams there. He'll be a lap down. But Carver was basically using JVL as the blocker. He came out behind him by a couple seconds and was letting Jan open up all the holes in traffic. And Carver would just come right on through. And now he's closed it up.
For those drivers that came down for the one-stop strategy, Chad Stearns is out in front of that group with John Kay about 3/4 of a second behind.
But Stearns on fresher tires than what Kay has. And is able to open up this gap just a little bit. Stearns' total time to the lead. I just remembered I'm on the other software. I don't have the actual number, but can't be more than about 10 to 12 seconds, I would imagine.
Boy, Cole Maxwell and Gary Clark just about got together there. I think there was a little bit of miscommunication as Maxwell is on not that much fresher tire, but by a few laps. And here comes Andy Ducato, who is on about 10 laps fresher. Gonna make this 3 wide here in a moment, maybe. He's got a big run. Oh, he's gonna get boxed in. Nowhere to take it.
And this is Brody Gunter coming up, but remember with the penalty, Gunter is a lap down to Ducato. So Gunter actually battling here. Actually not even battling with Maxwell and Clark. He's just through. Stearns picks off 7th from Larry Eddy. Will be coming up on Hayden Palumbo next. Carver's faded to about 0.4 of a second behind Jan Van Leer for the race lead.
This is going to get very interesting. I do think that the one-stop strategy probably is the way to go. But, man, if we can keep this thing green, I would love to see how this is going to play out.
So by my count, Chad Stearns is about 5 seconds behind the race lead. Still with 30 to go, and still presumably with another pit stop for the drivers at the front of this field. I don't know. There's a lot to keep track of here. A lot of dynamics at play here in the DilDosForFree.com 200 fighting against breast cancer here at Las Vegas. Reminder, next week we're going All-Star Racing. Finally, we're actually going to do it at Slinger. Slinger Super Speedway. Next week. Can't wait. Going to be a blast. And the Daredevil Series on air tomorrow night from Pocono. We'll catch you there. Larry Eddy on the much older tires here is just going to be shuffled up to the top of the track as Poliski, Lockett, Freed, and Schloss are all going to move through, and Eddy will be back to 12th.
Those drivers on that...
Go ahead. Sorry,
go ahead. The drivers on this two-stop strategy not very far away from likely their pit stops here. They're, I would imagine, going to be down just around lap 100, maybe a few laps later.
Stearns is rocking and rolling right now. He's got RJ Starsvik half a second ahead. It'll be another 2 seconds up to the battle for the lead. Carver and Van Leer drawing closer together once again, just a couple truck lengths separated.
Oh, RJ into the wall. Man, he gave Stearns too much room there. So Stearns is through on RJ. Now John Kay will go through on the bottom. Man, look at this group behind him.
This is a mess.
It certainly is. We got all sorts of drivers on the different strategies back here in this group right now. A few drivers headed backwards would be Brantley Gainey, Tyler Berger on the alternate strategy here.
And Bernie Gunter in the lucky dog position right now, but I think he's going to try and move through the pack here just to prove a point, if anything else. And right now in the 31st position.
Whoa! Freed and Gainey came awfully close there.
And don't look now, but Chad Stearns is going to make this a three-way race for the top spot. He is looking to the inside of Lucas Carver. He should have it quickly. We'll see how much of a fight Jan Van Leer is going to put up here on lap 100.
I'm going to say Carver and Jan Van Leer probably going to be down pit road not too long after Stearns gets by him here.
Chad Stearns to the race lead. John Kay is not too terribly far behind. Maybe about 0.8 of a second.
Yeah, and that gap is, I mean, Kay, when him and Chad both came out of pit road, that's about what the gap was. So I don't think he's lost any time, but I don't think he's gained much here either.
You know what these drivers really want that are on the alternate strategy here?
They would love a caution.
They sure would. Not saying they won't get it either.
But how far do you stretch it?
It's a roll of the dice.
Yeah, how far do you stretch it, though, hoping that caution comes out? Boy, John having a little trouble getting through on the bottom here.
He's on a couple lap older tires than Chad Stearns.
Finally going to get clear of Jan Van Leer, but if John is starting to struggle a little bit like that already, that might spell disaster here in the last 30 laps or so.
So Stearns looking for what would technically be his second win of the season. Statistically speaking, it would be. Never got the win at New Hampshire, but accrued some pit road penalties that didn't have the points come along with the victory. Look at this behind Andy Poliski. 3 wide.
Free down on the apron, trying to get underneath of his teammate. And then, of course, the 0-1 of Gunter, a lap down truck, is right in the middle of it also.
Your Gunter, you don't want to be getting your nose dirty here because you're in the lucky dog position. You know, if you are involved in the accident, you do not get the lucky dog per iRacing. That's not a league rule. That's an iRacing rule. We are definitely in the mix here. Lucas Carver says he's pitting this time. He is going to try and get the jump on Jan Van Leer. Remember, they pit on the same lap last time.
Carver was starting to go backwards pretty quickly there to the drivers on newer tires. So I like the call. He's going to bring down Brantley Gainey with him, and I'm sure Jan will be down this next time around.
I was going to say, Jan probably wanted to come this time, given the fact that Gainey and Berger, an associate teammate, both came down, but Jan was trapped up top. No way through.
He bypasses
the 10. Interesting.
He might just be going for that caution to fly.
It might be going for the overcut as well. So I think there was an issue. He might just be blinking. I was seeing Cole Maxwell slowing, but I think blinking.
I mean, that is something to consider as well. I mean, these drivers that are on this alternate strategy,
Nope, he's coming this time.
If a caution flies here in a few laps, they don't have any tires left, so they would then be at a tire disadvantage. I mean, this is... we love these kind of races. We just haven't had one in a while.
Jan is in. Palumbo is in. Oh, baby. Gary Clark is coming in as well. And too fast entering for Gary Clark.
So Carver is out on the racetrack. Currently in 27th. Jan has actually come out in front of Carver.
Very interesting.
But it takes a lap or two for these tires to warm up, so Carver may be able to get to Jan here.
Frank Srirachi and Steve Vroman are down pit road from 16th and 17th.
Looks like RJ, I think, is the only driver left. I take that back. Cole Maxwell also out there on the alternate strategy. Those are the last two, and here comes RJ Starcevic.
Yep, RJ arcing it wide. Luckily, nobody behind him. And he'll bring it down into his box.
And here comes Cole Maxwell. So that should do it for pit stops under green flag conditions. Will we need any more? That is the question.
That is the question.
So the gap from Stearns back to Kay, just over a second right now. And about a half a second back to Lockett. Lockett and his teammates, Freed and Schlosser, pretty close together here, along with Andy Ducato. That is your top six.
I am wondering if we are having some kind of server issues, because that's the second time I've been alerted that the pace car has been blinking. I've seen a lot of other drivers blinking as well.
Maybe you're just having server issues.
I mean, maybe. But normally they would just all disappear, and it's really just a driver here and there. Jordan Jordan says he's going to be pitting this time. He was one of those drivers that sort of bridged the gap. It's not out of the question that maybe everybody will come in. Which also means that there could also be some drivers that try and, again, I'm going to say my Las Vegas pun for the second time, and hopefully it gets acknowledged this time, roll the dice.
Oh, I'm so sorry. It didn't get acknowledged the first time.
Because I've never done that to you before.
Yeah,
Oh, man. It was a real roll of the dice whether I was going to do that for a second time.
Oh, there's the third one. Okay.
I'll be here all night. Anyway. Meanwhile, Josh Freed now to the inside of Zach Lockett. I mean, Freed has been driving the wheels off this thing.
He's looked good.
And here is Gary Clark on fresher tires to make it 3 wide.
He hasn't quite been able to make the passes up here in the top 5, but just proved me wrong immediately. He gets through on his teammate. That'll put him up to a podium position right now. Little bit of work to get to Kay, and then a little bit more to get to Chad Stearns, although Kay has closed in on Stearns by a couple of tenths here in the last 4 laps or so.
Yeah, that gap has come down even on this lap. Kay's been quicker through the first half of the lap.
Look at this.
Man,
here comes Jan Van Leer.
Wow.
It says, thank you very much. I'll take it on the apron.
He'll take it where he could get it. He is flying. Inside, outside, middle 3.
So something I'm wondering if something happened to Carver here, because him and Jan were very close together, and Jan has gapped him by a good margin now.
In fact, Carver, triggered the undercut on him by a couple laps. So definitely a difference in pit stops, seemingly.
Jan's working on getting his way back onto the lead lap, and then would have about 16 laps to try and work his way around again. The tires are going to start fading here for these drivers that are currently in the lead and on the lead lap, but will they fade that much? We'll see. Here comes Carver. As somebody got into the wall there. I think it may have been Rob Williams who's a lap down.
Okay, again, about half a tenth quicker than Stearns last time around. Well, Stearns was getting through on Joshua Rutherford.
Good little battle here between Corey Rutherford, speaking of the Rutherfords, and Josh Matacek.
I want to say this as well. Corey's had this kind of pace all season. He's had top 10 pace. That team has just been absolutely cursed. So it should not be a surprise to see him up here battling for the 11th position right now as they both get a piece of the wall there out of 4. And Corey's going to take that to a run to the inside of Matacek. And the Country Time Lemonade 15 almost got it done. That's a battle where they both come out ahead. Crumble Cookies versus Lemonade. Everybody wins.
Things are still continuing to tighten up here towards the top. Kay has put another couple of tenths on Stearns in the last few laps. Freed continues to catch both of them there in the 39.
And Gunter staying here behind the leaders to try and make sure that he's in the lucky dog position if the caution were to come out. So he's got cars to pass. Namely Palumbo and Joshua Rutherford.
Here's Corey looking underneath of Matacek again. Man, they get really tight as Rutherford washed up the track just a bit.
Well, Jack Watts has got to be licking his chops because he's got a good look at these two as he continues to close. Big pocket of air for him to work with. They'll have Jordan Jorno on much fresher tires coming up on them here short.
Oh, contact! Oh, they're both able to make the save. Really don't lose much momentum either. Watts wasn't able to really gain much time at all there.
Here comes Jorno. This thing's single file out a little.
Garrett Rainey working his way into the battle now as well, right behind the 77.
Worth pointing out, Hayden Palumbo just got through on John Kay. Palumbo on fresher tires, but that has ballooned this gap back up to nearly a second now. As soon as Kay got in that wake, he dropped back in a hurry. We'll see if the same happens to Stearns when Palumbo catches. But we're running out of time for Kay to mount an offensive. It'll be Josh Freed's opportunity now to try and get up to second.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if it's really going to matter much what the gap is between Stearns and Kay, because Freed is going to make it a battle for second here.
Jeremy McKinnon just made a pass on Andy Poliski for seventh. As, Corey Rutherford is through the grass in the tri-oval. And he saves it. Will stay green, but he'll drop a couple of positions.
Here's the replay real quick. Oh, a hit tags the wall, gets tied off of 4. Able to keep it straight through the grass. Back live now, battle for second, raging on again. Freed trying to take it away from John Kay.
Just ahead of them, Palumbo is going through on Chad Stearns right now, so if ever there was an opportunity for these two to try and get back into the fight, it's this. Here's Brantley Gainey, though, on fresher tires. He'll throw a wrench at things. Freed might be working with Kay here to try and push them both up to Stearns. Although, then again, maybe not. Here he goes to the inside.
I thought maybe the same thing, but he's gone to the inside now.
Right up to the door and massaging this two up the track little by little. So they had him to 7/10, but that's also Freed's teammate up there.
Oh,
Freed onto the apron.
Oh, my.
As Kay is tight, Freed was tight.
And that is Gainey on fresher tires on the alternate strategy.
4 to go.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy, that is tight. Doors open for Gainey to get through. It's still not out of the question. They're only 0.6 of a second behind. Just catching the traffic, or rather the traffic is catching them at all the wrong times. Oh, we got one in the grass. That was one of the faster cars on newer tires. I think it was Lucas Carver. Then again, maybe not. I'm not 100% sure who that was, but we're good to go.
I think it was Larry Eddy, maybe. Couple of battles going on right now. Freed and Kay. Yeah. But able to get a lot of momentum off the top there. 2 to go.
It's Stearns to lose. Not out of the question. We could see the yellow laundry here with how poor trucks are handling, how tight these drivers are pushing each other. Oh, Freed.
Oh,
Still.
and Kay up in the wall.
One to go. Race is official. Kay now to the inside of Freed with a tow from Brantley Gainey.
Okay, gonna try and mount one last run here into 3 and 4. Right up on the wall, he's gonna pull a Chastain.
Checkers are out for the second time this season. Chad Stearns is headed to victory lane. Stearns wins the deal does for free 200 at Las Vegas. Josh Freed is season best second. John Kay back on the podium. Zach Lockett, Andy Ducato, your top 5.
Good battle to the line there. Just outside the top 10. Matacek able to hold him off there in 11th.
Feel a little bad for Brody Gunter. but it was an unforced error that's going to cost him the opportunity at the win tonight. The man he was trying to fend off for it, Chad Stearns, will do the burnouts for the second time this season, the 11th time in his Venom Truck Series career. The 05 is going to park it at the end of the night. It'll be his first win here at Las Vegas, and his third on a mile and a half. And it's another win for 939 Motorsports. They are absolutely on a roll. Looking at the drivers on the alternate strategy, Jan Van Leer only managed to make it back up to 16th. Really would have loved to have seen what this race would have looked like without the one caution that we had. I'm sure that doesn't bother Chad Stearns all that much right now.
Certainly not. I mean, this is obviously he was gonna have a tough time getting around Gunter, but I mean, this is one of those. This has become one of those racetracks that kind of plays into his favor if we can get some green flag running.
We had plenty of it here tonight. I think the one thing that we have not mentioned all night is after the oval refresh that iRacing has laid out, Las Vegas Motor Speedway looked great. And I'm sure it looks even better out the windshield of this 05 right now. So team celebration wraps up. We will get on to your full finishing rundown. After 134 laps here this evening, the DealDozForFree.com 200 fighting against breast cancer will go to Chad Stearns. His second victory of the season, the 11th of his career. We'll talk to him. We'll talk to Josh Freed in a season-best second, and John Kay back on the podium here this evening for the third time this season in just a moment. Zach Lockett and Andy Ducato back in the top 5. It's Matt Schlosser in 6th. Jeremy McKinnon will finish in 7th. 8th for Andy Poliski. Paul Ellison and Kyle Zittel will get into the top 10 at the end of it. 11th for Joshua Matichek. It's 12th for Jack Watts. 13th for Garrett Rainey. 14th for Corey Rutherford and Austin Holyfield will round out the top 15. Jan Van Leer will finish in 16th. Lucas Carver in 17th. Hayden Palumbo, the last driver on the lead lap, in 18th. Brantley Gainey, Brody Gunter, your top 20. 21st for Tyler Bergert. It's 22nd for Joshua Rutherford. 23rd for Pascal Simard. RJ Starcevic in 24th. Rob Williams to round out the top 25. That's Team 200, or I guess Team 199 drivers, technically 23rd through 25th, all on a nice line. Frank Sirachi in 26th. Jordan Jordan in 27th. Cole Maxwell, Eric Breeding, and Steve Roman, your top 30. 31st for Gary Clark. Larry Eddy, DNFs there at the end of the race, pulls it in with 4 laps to go. And Brian Mitchell, an early retiree after our only caution of the night, in 33rd. All right, it's time to go podium interview hunting. And it's John Kay into booth 200. Back on the podium once again. Welcome back, and congrats on a solid run here tonight.
Thanks. It was a lot of fun. Had a great time.
It was definitely a strategy-heavy race. We haven't had a ton of those here this season, but lots of green flag running and a very interesting track. I don't know if this, from our perspective, this track doesn't meet this race didn't meet the expectations of this track. It seemed a lot more dynamic out there and a lot more tire wear at play than what we usually see.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I feel like, I don't know what they changed, whether it be with the truck or with the track, but I mean, I remember the one time where you literally had to bump draft people by other people. Like, it was awful. That's the one that Nathan won and I ran second. Like, we bump drafted each other past Brody, and it was just freaking god awful. So I mean, it's better. It's a lot better. The tire wear helps a lot. I wish it would have been a day race. Like, usually I don't say that. I love my night races, but I kind of wish it had been a day race because I feel like the track you could move around a lot more during the daytime than the nighttime. Once it went to the nighttime, it kind of locked down to the bottom, in my opinion. So, or maybe everybody around me was just kicking my ass every time I went to the top. So that's also possible. But yeah, I mean, all in all, pretty good. Passed a bunch of people. Good times. Hard charger, I think. I don't know. Yeah.
Matt, what you got for your road trip, buddy?
Yeah, congrats on the podium finish here tonight. Looked like you were starting to run down Chad there towards the end. Did you just burn him up a little bit too early trying to hang on to him, or was the lap traffic more of the kind of issue there towards the end? What do you think kind of happened there to keep you from getting to him?
Well, first off, Chad's really effing good. So that's I feel like he was just toying with me the whole time. Like I'd make up like a tenth or two, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get him, and then I would sit there for a lap and like maintain, and I'm like, damn, he's just messing with me right now. So like I don't know. I found something there for a little bit that worked really well, and then I had to pass a couple of trucks, and I think it was a rhythm thing. I kind of lost it in 3 and 4. I had it in 1 and 2, but then the tires got too chewed up and couldn't get to him. I don't think I could have got to him. About the only way I could have got to him was if I had freaking 40 lap fresher tires. So Chad did a great job. Had a blast running with Josh Freed. He was really good. He ran me down. I had freaking out there running second. Cleanest air I've had all day, and had no effing idea what I was doing. I'm not going to say what I was going to say, but you can just insert any pun about being, or not pun, but any like thing about being clueless there. Yeah. I had no idea what I was doing. So yeah, finished second, third, whatever. Third, got past for second. Good times. Started 20th. Can't qualify. Can't hold I guess I can't floor it as good as everybody else. So whatever.
Well, I mean, still a great run through the field. Still back on the podium here again tonight. Congratulations. Let's get some shout outs and we'll let you go.
Yeah, let me pull my list up so I don't forget anybody. Shout out to my fiance. Yeah, I'm trying. Shout out to my fiance. Not gonna mess that one up because she yelled at me already. Allie, she's a doctor now, just in case nobody knew. She's awesome. She lets me do this, and I don't know. She just lets me do this. She probably shouldn't, but she does. Shout out to my mom and dad. Love you guys. Thanks for being great. Shout out the whole team. Garrett, Paul, Kyle, Luke. Got to play Garrett in our Dynasty Conference Championship game tomorrow night. So fingers crossed. He's pretty good. Shout out to my boss, Sean, for the desk so I can race. Shout out my buddy Couch. I don't know if he's watching or not, but shout out to him. And shout out you guys. You guys do a great job. I don't know what the hell happened at iRacing Super Speedway to you guys, but I'm sure you guys both did great. Yeah, that's all I got.
It was something, let me tell you. But
yeah,
I'm
not gonna say anything about that race. So
the less said, the better.
I do not like iRacing Super Speedway, and I am gonna just start taking provisionals every time we go there because it can be turned into a lake too, just like Las Vegas. All right, I'm done. That's all.
You got a podium.
I don't give a shit. I hate this place. Let's run old Atlanta. Dude, this place sucks. I mean, it turned to night and you couldn't pass anybody. Like, let's keep it during the daytime so we can pass people, move around. It was a lot more fun.
Well, notes for next time. We'll, the right people will take that under advisement. And
no, they won't. They don't listen to me. Are you kidding me?
Well, thanks for the time. We'll talk to you again hopefully next week at Slinger.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh, God. All right, it's time to talk to your runner-up finisher, Josh Freed. As always, John K. going to set a high bar for the rest of the interview. But it's great to get Freed back up here, man. I think for the third time this season, you've been rocking and rolling, and now got a season best second. Congrats.
Yeah, I appreciate it. One of these days, I'll come in as the winner. But glad my computer held up last week, crashed, and took me out of that one. So I'm glad I was able to run this one out. Really like Vegas, so had a lot of fun.
I mean, yeah. I mean, we're looking at drivers, that were able to make moves at any point in the run, and you were definitely one of them. I mean, you had the pace early in the run, in the middle of the run, and late in the run, you were able to make moves as well. I mean, it was not easy to do tonight with this kind of being a little bit locked down, but more tire wear than we usually have here as well.
Yeah, it was definitely a good balance of, speed and tires. They didn't fall off too fast, but they have definitely meant a lot, which was good. It's really tough to pass early in the run, especially on the high side, which is how fast everybody is and gripped up it is. So kind of just, biding my time and, waiting it out early in the runs to, save tire to have it for the end of the run. And I think it worked out well. I mean, glad that we went, just one caution today was super helpful too. So you just got to make sure the race comes to me, and I let it come to me today.
Matt, what you got?
Yeah, congrats on a great finish here. I mean, you and Tommy kind of mentioned that, you kind of had it all throughout the night. It just took you a little bit to finally crack into the podium. You pretty much rock and rolled up to about 5th or 6th, and then started having some nice battles there towards the end. I mean, on those older tires, how difficult is it to kind of battle and try and make passes and set up passes to either the inside or the outside here?
It's really tough, especially when you get a ton of wear in the tires. The outside, usually feel like people prefer you get the big run off the corner, and as long as you can keep them side by side, usually you'll clear them. So I just tried to dive it in hard on the bottom, and then just be able to exit the corner right next to them to try and work the side draft to dive it into the bottom and clear on the next corner. So that was it's tough to do. Still, it takes a couple laps to work it in. I had a great battle with John. A couple great battles earlier too with some other guys. It's a lot of work to get around one guy.
Well, congrats on the third podium of the season and matching the career best finish here in the Venom Truck Series. I think your time is coming here soon to get that one better. But regardless, let's get some shout outs in before we let you go.
Yeah, shout out Chad. Another great race by him. Was a masterclass as usual, and as well as Zach and Matt had some great runs too. So able to I don't know what happened last week after I got kicked, but that's iRacing Super Speedway, so I don't even count it. So if you don't count that, back-to-back really good team weeks for the squad. So hopefully we can just keep pounding away.
I mean, last week was canon, unfortunately, but you're right. Good. It was even a good team week last week. Matt and Chad still snuck in for decent finishes. So you guys are on a roll. Keep up the good work, and we'll hope to talk to you again next week at the All-Star race once again.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
All right, let's talk to Chad Stearns, race winner for the second time here this evening, and will outlast everybody here at Las Vegas for the first time in his career, 11th time overall in the Venom Truck Series. Congrats.
Appreciate it, man. Hopefully this one still counts at the end of the night.
I think it will. Everything looked good to me, but I'm not the one that makes those calls at the end of the night. Regardless, I mean, it looked like it was going to come down to a duel between you and Brody. You guys had a really good middle portion of the race where you never really got separated by more than a few car lengths at any point. But obviously with the mistake there and with Gunter, he still had quite the slew of drivers that were pretty close behind you there through the final round of pit stops.
Yeah, so I made a pretty big mistake there when me and Brody were kind of battling. I felt like we were going a little bit too hard, too early. So I decided to let him get by and just kind of hang out behind him. And that was a terrible, terrible idea because I just couldn't get back to him. But yeah, then that unfortunate incident on pit road or whatever happened to him. I'm not real sure what happened actually, but I had a few more people behind me. I think John K was one of them, and then my teammates. But I tried not to go too hard and keep the gap around 0.6, 0.7. But when I tried to actually make it a little bit bigger, I couldn't. So I was kind of just stuck where I was, and luckily I think they were too behind me.
Matt, what you got for the race winner?
Yeah, congrats on the race win. I wanted to touch on kind of maybe the difference between the first run and then the subsequent runs after that. If it ended up racing a little bit different than you expected, if you kind of alter your pace or alter your lines to try and save tires a little bit through either the second or the third runs, because it seemed to me that the first one drivers maybe went a little too hard and then they maybe backed it off there later on.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. The first half of the race there was, it was a bit slicker. Track temp was probably hotter. Personally, I like that better, but definitely was easy to burn up the tires there. And then the second half of the race, whenever it was night and cooled off a little bit, really the only thing we could do was run the bottom. I think I tried the top line one time and lost like a half a second in just that lap. So yeah, man, it was all bottom.
Well, it's going to take you to the victory here tonight for the second time this season. Congratulations, and let's get some shout-outs in once again before we let you go.
Yeah, just give a shout out to 939 Motorsports, Venom Truck Series, and Turn 200. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, partner. Thanks for the time, as always. We'll hope to talk to you again next week at the All-Star Race.
Yes, sir. Have a good one.
Alrighty, so Stearns, like he alluded to earlier, had the win earlier in New Hampshire. It still counts statistically as a win. Didn't get the points to go with it, though, after a couple of pit road infractions that violated league rules, but not anything in the hard iRacing rules. Obviously, we don't think that's going to be much of an issue here this evening with how hard everybody was pushing onto pit road. Definitely everybody in and out on the right side of pit road. So we'll wait for official word on that, but certainly, yeah, Stearns is finding his footing at the right time, as are a couple of other drivers headed into the postseason. Josh Freed is right around that cut line on the wrong side of it coming into tonight. Great night for him. Lockett should be up to fourth in the standings, with being well ahead of Joshua Matichek. I mean, some drivers are getting it going here with 5 rounds to go now before the playoffs headed into the All-Star race.
Yeah, it's shaping up to be a really good run too. Just as it was last season, this season might end up being even better, and that's really saying something. I mean, the drivers, the competition is just so close. The last 2 or 3 seasons, I mean, it's getting really difficult to make it into the playoffs. So we're gonna have a bit of an exhibition race, a little fun next week, and then after that, I mean, it's on, man. We are in the home stretch to try and make the playoffs. I cannot wait to see all of that unfold. But yeah, it was an interesting race here tonight. Interesting to hear the drivers say that they might prefer a day race because they feel like they have some more moves to be made here at Las Vegas. We'll maybe put a little note in the cap there for seasons to come. And also, no more iRacing Super Speedway slander on the channel. I will not allow it here in my broadcast booth because it is mine now. That I took over the channel, the booth, and the teams after my performance last week. Not that it was that great, but you know. So yeah, no more slander for ISS from here on out.
Yeah. So I mean, even if I was in charge, that would be the same rule as well. But why don't we send the folks?
I made it up.
Oh, okay. Well, why don't we send the folks out happy here?
Yeah, shout out to everybody who was in the chat. Thanks for tuning in, hanging out with us. Shout out to RJ, man. He did not have the finish to follow up the speed, which to his credit in the chat and his comment there that he needs a crew chief. With a little better strategy, he would have had a great race, I do believe. So, but that all comes with the experience, and he just hasn't run that many races. And in the time that he's been in the Venom Truck Series, we haven't had that many races that have played out like this one have. So he's going to continue to learn the strategy part of this game just as everybody else is. Shout out to Joshua Rutherford. work in progress actually finished a race. I suppose that is progress. It's a work in progress. Shout out to Bailey Monachek, Allie Hill, and the Robin Monachek as well. I do believe that was it for our chatters here tonight, but thanks to everybody for tuning in here. Appreciate the support as always, and we got some action for you tomorrow night with the Daredevil series.
Boy, do we. The next 3 nights, let me tell you. The Daredevil series tomorrow night, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. I mean, Indianapolis is it's probably the crown jewel out of the Daredevil series. I think Legacy Pocono, honestly, is a close second. So that's where we'll be tomorrow night. That is must-see TV. So is Thursday night. The Wildish Dirt Track Challenge for the Max v CNC Home Designs Truck Series. Only the second time they're on the dirt. And you and I will have the call for one more Max V race Thursday night. Excited for that one, 9:15 p.m. Eastern time. And that will loop us back around to next Tuesday. We've already alluded to it. It's the All-Star race, the night of All-Stars for the Venom Truck Series. They chickened out of going to Slinger Super Speedway a couple of seasons ago. We're full steam ahead this time. So come see us at the ultra-high-banked quarter-mile track up in Wisconsin. For the first time, it hosts the Venom Truck Series. Good golly gracious, it's going to be something. We'll catch you at 9:15 p.m. Eastern time here next Tuesday night. That's all we got for you here tonight. Thanks to everybody that was hanging out with us. Thank you to the league admin team. Thank you to the drivers. And thank you to my boss, Mr. Matt Williamson. That's all we got for you here tonight. Till we meet again here from Las Vegas Motor Speedway, I'm Tommy Cook. So long. And congratulations, Chad Stearns. His second win of the season, the 11th of his career in the Venom Truck Series. Have a good night, everybody.